All right, I'm live again. Going back to back here with another task. In this example, some of the work I'm going to do now is work on the post-processing after an initial pull request has been accepted. So in this case, if someone working on text, they've submitted a pull request, they did a great job. I'm going to merge it in, and then there's still some more work to do. So that's work I got to do, and I thought I would just kind of record it and narrate what I do so that you can see a little bit more behind the scenes. So I'm going to share my entire desktop here, and let's see if I can share the entire screen. That looks good. And now we're in Zoom mode. Great. And so here I have some pull requests, and this is what I wanted to work on here, which is I've got 3 pull requests, and I'm going to look at chapter 12 here. So Andrew did pull request 12 nicely. Got his automatic checks happen. We already got valid XML following the schema. It's great. I'm just going to take a brief look, see if there are any obvious problems. Everything looks fine. We've got some spacing issues. That's fine. So that's a few things that I'll work on, but not really that big a deal. It's got some marginal notes, so I might add a little bit here, but mostly it looks great. And I don't see, there's no XML problems, so looks good. So let's go ahead and approve that. Okay, I'm going to squash and merge. We can just reduce this a little bit, squash and merge. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that branch so it's cleared from his side of things. And now I'm going to bring it home locally so we can do some further work on it. So I'm going to navigate to this repository. I'm going to pull down that newest merge request. Okay, and I'm going to open that most recent file, 197, and I'm going to see it here in Oxygen. And this Oxygen's a more powerful XML editor than the kind of Visual Studio Code web browser-based version. So that's where I'm going to do some of this work. So we can take a look, keep the manuscript that he's working on here, and he's indicated that it starts on 62V, so that seems right. We're just going to get to that same spot, so not right there. 75. Pretty close. 4, 3, 2. Oh, that might be too far. 62R, so we want to come over here, 62V. Great. And that looks fine. So we're at caput 12, and that's what we want here. So 62V is great. He's indicated that it starts on line 8, so that's great. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. And I think we'll keep that there in case we need it. It's got a couple accidental tabs in here. That's totally fine. We're just going to Control-Alt, do a kind of basic indenting there, and that looks better. It's creating a little extra indent here for these references, which is okay. We can fix that if we want. Looks like we might have ref quote in there. Okay, and he's also got the break equals no, so that's great. So first thing I'm going to do is add the XML ID here to the first level div. So that's LCAAS D1E197. Okay, that needs to be there because that's how we're going to automate the creation of all these XML IDs. Okay. it's working. I'm running out of memory, so a little slow. That doesn't usually take that long, but there we go. Not the end of the world. Okay, and then the reason we put the number of the first line is because it doesn't start always on line 1. So we don't know what line it starts on, and we're going to use that 8 to automatically number these lines. And we got a little problem there because we've got an issue. Oh, I see the problem. So he's trying to put the line number in there. We just kind of got it in the wrong space. So this is the script that makes a line number. Let's close this. And so the addition should be the reference to the witness that this line break happens in. So this is going to be hash P, just like he has in all these other line breaks. And then the number is like this, 8. Okay, so that should fix this problem. Now we can do the line number again. Okay, and now we have a nice 9 numbering. So you shouldn't be numbering things generally, because we can do that automatically, but we do need to have an accurate number of line breaks. All right. So I don't love the indenting inside the quotes and references when I'm doing a diplomatic transcription, because I want it to line up flat like this. And I introduced that error because I was trying to auto remove the tabs. So I'll just fix these as I go if they're really bothering me by just shift tabbing it flush and then tabbing it back. But that's just a minor issue. I mean, we tried to keep the white space regular so that pull requests can be pull requests and diffs, automatic diffs really show us meaningful changes rather than just white space changes. All right, so that's most of what we do for the pre-processing. The next thing we might start doing is we'll start marking some sources. So let's do a little bit of that. Let's see, for example, if there are any like low-hanging fruit, like Bible verses or quotes from canon law or Augustine that we can add in here. Let's start at the top. He's already marked several references and quotes. So we have a reference to the body of the second part of the Summa Theologica, question 10, article 10. So that's great. Let's do that. So I'm going to bring this down half the screen again. And I'm going to just go into a viewer where we can view the corpus. And let's take a look here. Get rid of some of this. All right, so we want to look at Aquinas. So we can go to Aquinas. We can go to the Summa Theologica. We've got the map of the text here. So this is the second part of the second part. Question 10. Good. Article 12. All right, and then we'll make it just, and then the body is usually considered from here to here. Now, at the moment, he doesn't seem like he's quoting. We can check to see if we can target this more closely. Let me just look up something really quick. This is chapter 12. We try to make this reference as granular as possible. So and sometimes the citation he has is just to say the closest he can get his body, but if we know that he's trying to talk about something, a specific sentence, then we'll try to mark that. That's a challenging task because we have to read the text and think about what he's talking about. All right, so I'm going to just hold on one sec. Thomas Aquinas. Oh, we do have a quote, maybe. Maximum auctoritatem is considered the thing he's trying to refer to here. Let's see. if that's can be found here. Quae semper est. Okay, so here's the body, and the scholarly consensus, more or less, is that this reference here is trying to refer to from here to here. So we can be, that's what's kind of cool about this, is we can be super granular. We can provide a reference that's not just the body text, but can actually say, like, no, this sentence here within the body. So what I did is I highlighted where we think he's referring to. Now I'm focused on that highlight, and now I'm copying to the clipboard the ID for not just this paragraph, but the word range within that. And now I'm going to add this to the reference target equals, okay, and I'm going to place that in there like that. All right, if I don't think I have the Quadlibet text set up, but this seems to be the quote in the Quadlibet, so if I had that reference, it would go there. Now, an interesting thing we want to do is link this reference to this quote. So the quote would take a source value, but I don't have that yet. But the ref, well, this is the ref for that quote, so we're going to do correspond like that. And now we know these things are tied together, and we can compare. For example, here's the historical way that this quote was cited, and we can compare that to modern ways that that's cited, things like that. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll call it a session. Here we have a quote from Cyril. I don't have that yet. Quote. So okay, an issue here. So he's got the ref colons quote, but there's no white space here. So if this gets reduced to plain text, it's not going to be clear to the computer to tokenize these. So we always need to make sure that there's a white space separating like supra and suis. Okay, might be another reference here. Okay, we also had a note issue. So this is a note. So at line 15 in the margin, right, there's a note. So we're going to give this a type marginal note. Its place is not RM, but margin right. Okay. And we don't really have IDs for these different hands yet, so it's okay for him just to have a question mark there for the moment. Then I just dropped this down. Also, it seems like it's not clear what this is, so I'm going to mark this as unclear so we know it's something we need to work on. And then the line can continue here. All right, and here's the quote we have. Let me see if I can identify that. What is that? Sublimus Deus. Sick. Okay, this is an extremely long quote from a bull of the Pope. So that continues, but we can't mark that. Anyway, it's nicely done. So quote here, and then more quote, and this is all indented because this is all part of that quote. I would bring this up like that, so that we still have this flush line of paragraphs. Quote continues, right, and looks like it ends, but again, bring that up. Quote continues, looks like it ends. Where does it end? Click on this, we'll get that end. Quote ends here, and then we have the etc., and so on. All right. Lots of big quotes here. Keep that like that. Quote starts here. Keeps going. Good. This is good. Page break, line break, break equals no. That's exactly how that needs to be done. Here's the deletion. That's done well. All right, here we have an add. Now, here, I'm not sure we only need a break equals no if it breaks over the line. So I don't see that unless we're missing something. So that should go away. Okay, 21 finishes here. Then we have 22, break, break. Let's get one more quote that we can mark that I have. All right, maybe, usually we can get in like a Bible verse or something. It's nice and easy. All right, not as many this time, but we did the one from Aquinas, so that was a good example of what we might do. Okay, so let's call that. One of the post-processing thing I do is we had a transcription file and a transcription description file, and this needs to be in there, especially when we have multiple manuscripts, because we need to know which file we're going to use as the kind of default and the one that gets scraped to represent the ID of the text. And it seems unnecessary here because we only have one text, but we have lots of cases where we might have 100 manuscripts and we need to choose which one's going to be the default one. So I'm fixing that for this, save, and this one, save. We also use this file if we have multiple versions, like a peer-reviewed one. We'll need to record the peer-reviewed one versus the working copy at the top. So that's what this file does. Okay. While we're here, let's grab 13 and see if we can get another quote. So I'm going to do the same process, check it out. We got no XML errors already, so you can see I'll need to fix this number again, but everything looks pretty good. Spacing's good. We have a marginal note, so I'll add a type to that. We got another Thomas quote, so that's fun. We can try that. We got a Bible quote. All right, this one has more quotation options. So let's approve this. Can squash and merge. I'm going to delete that because it's safe to delete now. Same process. I'm going to pull that in. Oh, we've got, let's see, status. First, we're going to do git add updates to 12. Good. Now we're going to pull in the new one. Good. We've got and we've got our changes here, so let's push those. Okay, and let's open that new file. Where did we pull? Did we pull that new one? Well, anyway, we can find it here. Now that we've pulled that this 13 should be in here, and there it is. Oops, open the README. We don't want that. Go away. I need more memory. Okay, great. So this all looks good. Good. We're right where we were, but we're chapter 13, so let's get to that same spot. Here we are on 66V. 66V. And so this presumably is line 21, so we're just going to change this number equals line E to P. Okay, that looks good. 66V is great. So we'll save that. Close this. Close that one we were working on. And we got some Bible verses here. That's great. More fun to work on. So let's do the line numbering and ID creation first. Let's go ahead and generate those ups. You know what, we failed. So this is what happens because we don't have the body ID here, so it doesn't know what to do. So I'm going to undo that. And again, the first div is considered the main div, and the ID of that needs to match the item ID 8S8D1E210. All right, let's try that again. Great. And if we add any new quotes, we add any new references, we're going to want to make IDs for those, so we would just run this again. And anything that's supposed to have an ID that doesn't would get an ID. Let's add the line numbers. So it's going to start that numbering at 21 until it gets to the next page, and then it will do 1 again. And now we've got this reference to Deuteronomy 7. That's awesome. So I think that's 7:1, but he's not really quoting it. As far as I can see, he's just pointing it to us. So in this case, we will just get the ID for the paragraph as a whole. We can't really zero in on any part of the verse. I'm going to copy the ID, and I'm going to add it as a target equals like so. Okay, and already you can see the red on the right. It shows us that other people have cited this verse as well. So we can see that Alexander Hales is citing this verse. So what else do we got? We got the book of Joshua, and here the suggestion might be that there are 4 verses, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 9 are being targeted here, where we read about God, where there's certain crimes. Okay, so we need to mark that as a reference to these 4 verses. Right, so a little tricky. Joshua, what do we think? 8:24. Okay, so that's 8:24. So we got 8:24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So this is certainly could be improved, but this is the way it works now. So we only do word ranges within a paragraph. So if we want to cross paragraphs, we just need to insert all of them. So we're going to do 24, 25. The IDs of the reference are separated by white space, 26, 27, 28, and 29, and we'll end there. All right. So that's no problem. If it got longer and longer and it was all of 8, then we wouldn't need to do each verse. We would just use the ID for chapter 8. But it still lets us be pretty granular. He's got some more. We've got Deuteronomy 23:7 again here at just below in the next paragraph. Quam vis. Here we've got the Deuteronomy 27 again, so let's mark that. Deut 27:7. So we'll take that, and we'll add that. Now, this is actually the reference for the quote, so we're not going to put it on the ref, we're going to put it on the source here, and actually we know what the verses are, so we can get closer here. We're in the wrong spot. It's 23. He says 27, but you can see from what he's quoting that it's 23.7. Look, we'll take a look. 23.7. Right. There's our quote. So we want to grab it's all the way. Is it all of it? All the way to the end. So that's fine. We'll grab that. And now when we do quotes, we use the attribute source instead of target. And we want the expression ID, not the transcription ID. So now we've got the quote with the source, and then we've got this reference. So we want to make, how do we link that? Say this is the reference for this. We're going to grab the ID of the quote, use the corresponds hash and that ID. Okay, nice. We've got something from Acts 14 a little bit above. Got another Deuteronomy here in Testamenti. Just a sec. At Testata. Oh. 263. No, skip that one. How about this one? Acts 14. So right here at qui scilicet. How about, I need to search for this. This is qui scilicet Deus. Right here, we got a quote. Probably not, a little typo there. So also, really, this should be a reference. So we got Acts 14 reference. You know, he's got Barnabas saying. So let's grab that. That's going to be Acts 14. Just going to go to the first verse of Acts 14 and look for Deus in generatione there. So generationibus praetor. So we got qui. Here's the verse going down to suas. So that whole thing. Grab that. Source. One through 11. Good. So now notice we made a new reference here. It doesn't have ID. So this is a case where I would run the XML ID creation again. It's going to add it for anything that's missing it here, right? And now I can take, and this is an interesting case that it's not totally random what it generates, so I have to watch out for that. It's using the position of the elements in the file to kind of create that ID. And it doesn't happen very often, but in this case, it created a duplicate ID. But nice, the editor is nice to point out, like, you can't have any duplicate IDs. So it gave me a red flag. So since these are random, you know, I can do anything I want here. So I'm just going to change it. And now I'm green again. Okay, so we want the ID of this quote here. And again, corresponds. Okay. All right, I think that's enough. There's a ton more quotes in here that we can work on, but you see the basic processing. And let's commit those changes. Added IDs and numbers with a few quote sources for chapter 13. Oh, and we're missing the transcription file here. So let's save this to here. All right, good. Question 13 is done. Let's do this again. Git add all added IDs and numbers with a few quote sources for. All right, push. Okay, that's it. So the basic idea is that stop sharing. The basic idea is that once a pull request is accepted, we can add those IDs, do some basic post-processing things. But you also saw how we can mark up sources and can generate an apparatus fountain automatically, and we're creating real data links, not just string references. So these are actionable, and we can, just like we saw, say, oh, here's all the other people that quoted this Bible verse, and so on. So, all right. So I hope that was useful. Again, the nerdiest live stream ever, but if you're here, you're presumably sort of interested in that stuff, and that's how it works. Thanks for watching.